Hey everyone, God bless you. Thanks so much for tuning in to Patristic Nectar. I have an encouragement for you. I've written it under the title of Learning to Love the Right Things. You know, it's one thing to know what you should love. This is important. We have to learn this. It's another thing to want to love the things that you should love. And it's something totally different to actually do it, right? You have to know what to love. You have to want to love that. And then you have to learn how to want that, how to actually develop a love for that which is of God, God Himself, and that which is of God. This is a process, right? It's not that we're just born, it's just natural to us in our fallen condition to be attracted to beautiful things. We sadly find ourselves mixed. We find ourselves contorted and at war on the inside, and a portion of us, much to our shame and embarrassment often, desire and are attracted to unlovely things, things that ought not be loved, even things that ought to be abhorred or hated. Sometimes we love them, and this can be a true torture to Christian people. Learning what's lovable, wanting to love the lovable things and people and God Himself, and then actually cultivating that love, actually accomplishing that love. This is the Christian path. This is one perspective to see what it means to be maturing as a Christian person. I was recently reflecting upon this with many believers in one of my sermons and lectures, and I used as kind of a template, a teaching aid, an incredible article that I read some years ago by a fine classical educator here in America named Joshua Gibbs. Mr. Gibbs has published a number of incredible pamphlets on classical education. Classical education is enjoying, thankfully, such an incredible progress in the West and here in America. May it continue and continue. If you want to know more about Joshua at the end of this, you can go to gibbsclassical.com and find out more about him. But he wrote an incredible little article, a pamphlet basically, designed for high school students, mostly seniors or even kids that are younger that are going to be receiving classical education in high school, whose parents are convinced of the value of classical education, but the kids are turned off. The kids are like not thrilled about the idea of reading Plato. So he wrote this incredible little treatise, this small little treatise. It's called So Your Parents Are Thinking of Sending You to a Classical Christian School. He says something in there that I found extremely beautiful and directly relevant to the quest of Christians to learn to love the beautiful things, to learn to love the lovely and to not love the filthy and corrupting. Let me read a portion, just a little blurb from this 10-page essay from Mr. Gibbs. Education is about the heart, about learning to love what should be loved. He points out that it's easy to like cool things, but quite unimportant to like cool things, since they will not exist or they won't be cool in a very short time. It's much harder to learn to love substantial things, old things, classic and beautiful things. Many of us know we should love them, but we don't. And we really don't know how to love them because it's not a simple thing to learn to love good things. Mr. Gibbs posits this question: how do you learn to love truly beautiful things? And this is his answer. Imagine you have a long-lost uncle who is a wildly successful coffee merchant. You know almost nothing about this uncle until he dies, and his lawyers contact you and invite you to a reading of his will. In the will, you will find your uncle has left you his entire coffee empire. Wow, I can hardly imagine something better than that, which is worth tens of millions of dollars. And however, there is a catch. You cannot receive the inheritance unless you can honestly claim that you love coffee. The lawyers are going to give you a lie detector test wherein you must say aloud, quote, "I love coffee. Coffee is delicious, and I deeply enjoy drinking it." And you can't set the alarm off. The problem is this: you hate coffee. I can't imagine who this person could possibly be, such an ignoramus, but he hates coffee. You have always hated coffee, from the first sip of your father gave you when you were 4 years old up until this day. But then the lawyers tell you that even the catch has a catch. If you cannot honestly claim that you love coffee today, you may return in exactly 1 year and take the lie detector test. You tell the lawyers you will be back in a year. In the meantime, you have 1 year to learn to love coffee. How would you do it? When I have offered this same scenario to my students and asked them how they would learn to love coffee, they have given some very fine answers. They say they would begin by drinking coffee every day. Not buckets of coffee, but a few cups every morning. They would begin with lots of milk and sugar and then slowly decrease the amount of milk and sugar so the flavor of the coffee began to take over. If you want to love something, you have to know all about it, they say. And so they would learn as much as possible about coffee during that year. Where it is grown, how it is grown, who grows it. There must be many different kinds of coffee as well, they say, and so they would not drink only one kind of coffee, but coffee from Ethiopia, Kenya, Hawaii, Honduras, Ecuador, Sumatra, and so on. And they would learn all the many ways there is to make coffee. Pour over, French press, AeroPress, mocha pot, siphon. It's easier to love something if you're surrounded by people who love it, they say. And so they would pass the year in cafes and coffee shops, watching people enjoy their coffee, talking with them about why they love coffee and what coffee they like best. As the year carried on, we can imagine slowly developing a tolerance for the taste of coffee, then a begrudging appreciation, a few moments of pleasure here and there, and then perhaps, towards the end, real and unfeigned enjoyment. This is how you learn to love coffee. This is, in fact, a paradigm for how you learn to love anything, and especially God and beautiful things, the good, the true, the beautiful. This is how we learn not just to learn to love the scriptures, for instance. This is not just how we learn to love the writings of the church fathers, and indeed all classic books. This is how we learn to love the Christian life. Learning to love God and His life is the very purpose of our existence, dear ones. This is why we are here, to learn to love Him, His world, and especially the people that He's put in His world. Christ is asking us to learn to love virtue, to learn to love forgiveness, to learn to love repentance. We're conditioned to appreciate and like many degrading things. But Christians, we must be different, dear ones. We must learn to separate ourselves from unworthy loves and to cultivate incredible loves, to be reconditioned for learning to love things that are truly lovable. People, virtues, truth, repentance, God, even your enemies. There's only one place you can find the grace to enable this re-education. That is salvific, and that will make you happy and holy forever, and that is in the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church. This is how you learn, dear ones, to love good things, the right things. Go for it. And may God help you.
One of the greatest joys in my ministry is witnessing the beauty of a couple living out their vocation of love through the sacrament of matrimony. A helpful way to renew the special graces of married life is to share your experiences with others and listen to testimonies from those with special insights into this holy mystery. Father Josiah Trenham, senior pastor of St. Andrew Orthodox Church in Riverside, California, has assembled several luminaries and champions of marriage at Patristic Nectar Publications' annual marriage conference. The theme is Marriage, Bedrock of Civilization. I encourage you to register for this special conference at www.themarriageconference.com for general admission or VIP meet and greet tickets. I look forward to attending and hearing from you and sharing my reflections on the sanctity of marriage. May God bless you and your families.